Prince Harry in Scotland,
making his final trip there as a working royal.
This is his first public appearance since he and his wife Meghan Markle finalized their split from the royal family.
Today, Harry returns to the UK, and the Queen pays tribute to her silent heroes.
Because of the nature of your work, it is without public recognition. So it is on behalf of the country that I say to you all, thank you.
Welcome to the Royal Report. I'm your host, Sharon Carpenter. And with me today, my trusty sidekick, Max, a.k.a. the Count of Cuteness. Catch Max. Good boy. And now, the news. The Queen went undercover on Tuesday, making a surprise visit to the London headquarters of the British intelligence agency MI5. Her Majesty received a tour of the spy centre before delivering a brief speech commending the agency on their heroic work protecting the nation. Here's a clip.
But on each of my visits to MI5, I have been impressed by the way that you have adapted to the changing threats to our nation. Whether responding to the threats from the Nazis or the Cold War, domestic terrorism or the cybersphere, you have always demonstrated the utmost commitment to your motto, Regnum Defendi. Because of the nature of your work, it is without public recognition. So it is on behalf of the country that I say to you all, thank you.
Very thankful for all their work and the freedoms they protect, such as enjoying a night out at the theatre, like William and Kate did that same day. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attended a special charity performance of the award-winning musical Dear Evan Hansen, held on behalf of the Royal Foundation. The royal couple also spoke with the show's cast and creators about the important topic of mental health, which of course is a big part of the musical's message. And from box seats to boxing gloves, Kate showed off her sporty side the following day during her visit to London's Olympic Park. The Duchess joined young track and field athletes at an event for SportsAid, a charity that's dedicated to celebrating the role that parents and guardians play in their child's athletic success. Keep up the great work, Kate. Not to be outdone, William was also out and about yesterday, travelling to Nottinghamshire to visit Tarmac's National Skills and Safety Park. In addition to learning about the company's efforts to support social mobility, the Prince also got behind the wheel of an asphalt paver. Little on the nose there, literally paving the way for new opportunities. And finally, Prince Harry is back in the UK. On Wednesday, the Duke of Sussex appeared in Scotland at a summit for his environmental tourism initiative Travelist. As Harry prepared to take the stage for a brief speech, it was announced that the Prince had requested to be introduced in a surprisingly casual manner. Take a look.
And of course, helping pull all of this together today is His Royal Highness, the Duke of Sussex, who wants to say a few words to kick-start the day. And he's made it clear that we are all just to call him Harry. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big, warm Scottish welcome to Harry.
No matter what we're calling him, I am always happy to see Harry. All right. On Tuesday, People Senior News editor Erin was on the show, and we talked about how the Queen has requested that Harry and Meghan attend the upcoming Commonwealth service. That conversation was cut for time, but we want to share it with you today. Here it is. The Commonwealth service happening at Westminster Abbey on March 9th. We're hearing the Queen is requesting that Harry and Meghan be there. What exactly is the Commonwealth service, and why is it so important for the Sussexes to be there?
This is one of the most important events for the royal family. Really celebrates all the Commonwealth nations, and as individuals and collectively. So this is a chance for the royal family to come together and pay tribute to that. And Harry and Meghan, it's important for them to be there because while they are stepping down from their senior working roles, they are still maintaining a really important designation, and that's President and Vice President of the Commonwealth Trust, which is something that the Queen gave them after they got married, these positions. And it's to really support a lot of the youth around the Commonwealth, which is something important to them, specifically for Meghan and championing like young girls' education and things like that. So they still have that designation. For them to be there for Commonwealth, this Commonwealth service really makes sense.
Interesting. Now, this event is being described as part of the last round of royal engagements for Harry and Meghan. Where else do you expect to see them? While they're in the UK for
In a way, this kind of is their farewell tour because the actual deadline for when they're no longer considered part of the working royal family is March 31st. So we're kind of seeing the run up to that. They're going to have a handful of different engagements between now and the end of March, from Commonwealth Day, outings, things around Invictus, which is something that really important to Harry.
Big one.
We'll see Meghan step out for Women's International Day. So different things throughout the UK, and probably visiting a lot of their patronages, which they're still maintaining those.
A full schedule for them.
Oh yeah, it'll be packed.
Erin, thank you so much. Great reporting as always.
Thank you.
We have to take a short break now, but first Max is going to tell us what's coming up next. Sit, Max. There you go. Max loves his cheese. Now, the style report. With Meghan laying low in Canada and Kate taking last week off from royal duties because of George and Charlotte's half-term break, it was a relatively quiet week for royal fashion, but there were still a few looks that had people talking. This past Tuesday, the Queen made a secret appearance to MI5 headquarters and looked regal in a burgundy coat and wide-brimmed hat decorated with wispy flowers and feathers. She paired the look with her signature loafers. Later that evening, Kate stepped out with William for a special performance of musical Dear Evan Hansen. She was gorgeous in a tweed black midi dress from Eponine and glitter pumps from Jimmy Choo that retail for $725. Gorgeous. Kate was out again yesterday, this time solo for an event for charity Sports Aid. She showed off her more casual side in a navy blazer matched with $50 green culottes from Zara. She kept the green theme going with a pair of white and green Marks & Spencer sneakers, which also retail for $50. I have a feeling these will sell out fast. All right, Royal Watchers. School is now in session. Royal etiquette expert and friend of the show, Micah Meyer, is going to teach us how to sit like a prince. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Micah Meyer, and today I'm teaching you the royal sitting pose. The royal sitting pose is for male members of the royal family. We've often seen William practicing this both in interviews professionally and in personal situations. Gents, you can try this both at home or at work, whenever you want to look super polished. Here's how you do it. When in a sitting position, you cross one leg over the other. Now here's the key. You want to make sure the bottom of your foot is facing downward, so you only see your beautifully polished shoe and not what's underneath it. The two big don'ts here are never lean all the way back into the chair. You want about a golf ball distance between your tailbone and the back of the chair. Another don't, never use armrests. No matter how comfortable they are, they tend to break posture. This pose is very practical whenever you have to sit for long periods of time and is really comfortable. Guys, try this one at home, whether you're at a business meeting or on a date. And that, Royal Watchers, is the royal sitting pose.
Thank you, Micah. Can't wait to see your next lesson. Right, Max? Such a good boy. Now it's time for our social media minutes.
Hi Sharon, royal posts have been filling up my feed all week and I can't wait to share these moments with you. Cue the clock and let's go. Last Wednesday, the Clarence House Instagram page marked the 50th anniversary of Prince Charles's first major speech about the environment with this video. It included flashback footage of a 21-year-old Charles as the now 71-year-old Prince reflected on why defending nature has always been so important to him. Great to see Charles leading the way on this issue. Last Friday, Princess Eugenie posted this photo to share her work with Together Band, an international movement hoping to unite citizens around the world to achieve global goals. Eugenie chose to share her bracelet with friend singer Ellie Goulding because of the work she does to change the world. Love that the BFFs are coming together for such an amazing cause. Last Saturday, Kate posted this photo to the Kensington Royal page from her recent visit to Wales as a thank you for the amazing response to her 5 Big Questions survey. Kate stressed the public feedback will be a vital source of information about how to best help children in their early years, and the findings will be shared in the coming months. Can't wait to hear more. And finally, this past Monday, the royal family's Instagram page gave us even more details about the ongoing renovations in Buckingham Palace. Plumbing and heating haven't been updated since the 1950s, and the new work will make the building more energy efficient. Fingers crossed, we also get to see the finished product. That's your social media minute for this week. Back to you, Sharon.
Thanks, Gillian. That was social media correspondent Gillian Fleischman. Great work, as always. Now, you know Max is a bit of a social media maven as well. And earlier, he asked me to join him in the PeopleTV photo booth for his latest post. Take a look. Come on, Max. Let's go. Photo booth time. Fun. See you out there in a sec. You took another one without me. I am so offended. Well, I never. The Royal Report will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Recently, People Senior Royals editor Michelle Tauber was in town, and I got to chat with her about what it's like to cover the royal family for a living. Hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Okay, I'm here with People Senior Royals editor Michelle Tauber is with us. Michelle, it's great to see you.
Sharon, great to see you too. Thank you.
Now, Michelle, you've been covering the Royals for 20 years. I'm in awe of you right now. And I'm going to ask you a lot about your favorite experiences, your best moments in your career. But first, I want to talk about how you got into royal reporting in the first place. Is this something you always wanted to do? Tell us about your road to becoming People Senior Royals editor, a very prestigious title, by the way.
Thank you. Tell my parents that. No, it's funny because when I was 11 years old, as maybe no young girls do, I decided for Halloween I was going to dress up as Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, wow.
And I look a little like Blanche from Golden Girls because I thought Queen Elizabeth would have a fan, but in a big straw hat. But anyway, I ended up pursuing journalism. I love telling stories and writing, and I got a job at People pretty soon out of college. And what was so really kismet for me in my career is that I was able to do that thing where my passion was royals and telling stories, and they merged at a time when we were just starting to have this renaissance with the next generation of royals. And so, in fact, the job of royals editor, which is a cool title, I have to admit it is a good title.
You know it is.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The job of royals editor didn't even exist actually, and I sort of asked, could it be its own thing? Because we were coming up at this time when it was clear we were on to the next chapter for the royal family.
Wow.
It's been good timing.
Okay, now we hear the term palace statement.
Yes.
When we hear about a palace statement, who exactly is that from?
Yeah, it's a good question. The palace, I always think palaces don't talk, right? But we always say that the palace says. So a palace statement means a statement issued by one of the offices representing William and Kate, that would be Kensington Palace, Meghan and Harry, who are now under Buckingham Palace, but a little bit in flux. Yeah. Prince Charles and Camilla, who are under the umbrella of Clarence House, and then of course the Queen and Prince Philip, who are also Buckingham Palace. So we use palace generally to sort of encompass all of those various offices.
Got it. And we also hear palace sources, palace insiders a lot, which can be very vague, but these are tried and trusted, credible sources that you found.
Yes, and again, I've been working this beat for 20 years. Simon for even a little longer. And we've been together the whole time. And those sources take decades to cultivate, to gain trust. And we're really, careful about who we would ever rely on in terms of, fact checking and making sure we're as accurate accurate as possible.
You have sources outside of the palace as well when you're reporting on the royals, without giving too much away, their identity for yourself. They're supposed to be anonymous.
Yes.
What kind of sources do you go to outside of the palace?
Yeah, so, you know, there are friends who speak with us. There are people, we sometimes say in their circle, which means people who interact with them. And to sort of like be specific about their exact role would compromise, you know, how, would make them feel that they couldn't speak as freely as maybe they could otherwise. So people who interact with them, friends, people who work maybe, you know, in similar sort of similar circles as the palace aides who are within, and sometimes palace aides themselves, and then of course there are PRs too.
Intriguing. I want to know how royal reporting has changed over the years. Obviously, there are many ways to answer that, but what would you say are the biggest changes you've seen throughout your career?
Yeah, you know, one of the things when I first started reporting at People, and it was a little predated my time, but it definitely caught my eye, was, you know, the early days of People and journalism at People were very sort of male-driven, and there was sort of a perspective that was less. Definitely less feminist than it is today, less, you know, female forward the way we are, our staff in New York and myself in Orlando, we're women led, and so we're very focused on making sure that it's not just about what you know, Kate's wearing or what, you know, Meghan's wearing, but about the issues that they're really trying to promote. And then we've seen obviously a lot of changes since Diana. Some of those were, you know, the result of the tragic way that she died and her lifetime being pursued by the paparazzi, and some of those changes were put into place to protect the current generation. You know, obviously William, Kate, Meghan, and Harry, and we know Meghan and Harry have had their own really, you know, serious issues with that.
Yeah, wow. And as you mentioned earlier, the royals are on social media now as well.
Yes,
Took us by surprise initially, didn't it?
It did, and you know, I think it really does open it up. It puts a little, you know, more contemporary sort of oxygen into the royal family, and it helps them connect with younger generations, which is something that's really important to them. And it makes for, you know, fun content for us too. So win-win.
Now, I need to know how many members of the royal family you have met. And who?
Yes. So I'm not, you know, invited over to dinner often or ever.
To the palace?
Never.
Not
yeah.
Once in a while, no?
Yeah, no, never. But I have had royal, I would call them royal brushes. So with Prince Harry, with Princess Kate.
What was Harry like?
Well, I have to say, Harry for me was the experience that most really inspired me in terms of our royals coverage and what the royal family can do. And that was in 2016, and he was visiting Orlando. It was so amazing. Oh. Harry came to Orlando. So
nice.
yes, it was actually at Walt Disney World, as one does. And he was there for his Invictus Games, which we know have become, you know, his passion project. And it was pre-Meghan, so he was single, and People actually did a sit-down interview with him. Simon interviewed him at Kensington Palace. We'd had a great cover story, but I got to see him up close in action with these athletes. And one of them, I was watching him. You may remember, but there was a young woman with who had a very scarred face, and he gave her this big, she was one of the athletes, and he gave her this big kiss on the cheek. It was so sweet, and we were like, oh, Prince Charming. Then I happened to see her at a wheelchair rugby event a couple days later, and I went up to her name was Katie Kuiper, and I said, oh my gosh, Katie, that was incredible, like watching Prince Harry. How did that feel when he kissed you? And she gave me an answer that just stopped me in my tracks. She said, I served in Guantanamo Bay and in the military, and it was such a traumatic, horrible experience for her that she looked me in the eye and she said, I came home and shot myself in the face. Wow. And she said, no one wants to look at me. I'm invisible to most people, but Harry saw me and Harry kissing me, and I sat there and just sobbed.
So
It was really, and it really showed again the power. We write a lot about the spectacle and the pageantry and the tradition, and it's all fun and it's lovely and wonderful and it's an escape. But that was real, and that was something that I'll never forget because the impact he had was human to human. It was powerful.
Incredible. Amazing story. Well, we're going to split this convo into two parts. That was part one. Okay,
Yep.
part two, I'm going to ask you about your personal experiences on the job, biggest stories, etc. We'll do that next episode. How about that?
That sounds great.
Sounds good.
Okay.
The Royal Report. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's now time for great moments in royal history.
This is a very special occasion for me, as it is for all of you who are gaining your commissions today.
On April 12, 2006, Prince Harry graduated after 40 weeks of training from Sandhurst Military Academy as a commissioned officer with the rank of second lieutenant. The Queen and her husband, Prince Philip, watched from their royal enclosure as their 21-year-old grandson marched along with his classmates in the traditional Sovereign's Parade. Harry's father, Prince Charles, and his brother, Prince William, were also in attendance. After the procession, the Queen honored the graduating cadets with an inspirational speech, sharing a bit of wisdom from her years as monarch.
Many people seem to believe that the preparation to become an officer is merely a matter of acquiring some basic understanding of military procedures and of achieving high standards of physical fitness. I believe there is rather more to it than that. It is also the first step in learning how to become leaders.
All right, Royal Watchers, that's our show for today. I want to thank my adorable co-host Max right here. You can follow him at Max the Corgi NYC. And remember to follow People on Twitter to watch the latest episodes of The Royal Report, streaming every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Sharon Carpenter. Ta-ta! Till next time.